It's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show People of Distinction. The talk gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com today for more info, or you can always email me directly through benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Marian Flores. We're going to be discussing her wonderful book, Alisa in Washerland. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com, cityofbooks.com. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and get lost in all of it. And if you haven't figured it out already, Marian was brought to our network, People of Distinction Today, by that same publishing company, City of Books. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process, if you now need help moving the masterpiece you've just completed, well, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give and contact City of Books. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and this is what they specialize in. So head on over to cityofbooks.com today and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Marian here on the line. Her book, Alisa in Washerland, is much more than just a catchy title. Now, first and foremost, that it is. Okay, this is something that is compelling to no end. It's an inspirational children's narrative that your kids are not going to be able to put down. But here's the thing. It's made for children, but some of the underlying messages found in this book, I'm telling you, I know a lot of adults out there who could benefit from it as well. When you read in between the lines and you pick up the themes and the messages to be found, it's going to make you think, okay? Because it's all about how oftentimes in life we find ourselves in situations that we don't want to be in, all right? I know you guys can't see me, but my hand is raised because I found myself in quite some precarious situations, okay? Now, it's all about when you find yourself in those situations, what do? How do we get out of it? Because sometimes we want nothing else but to quit. We want to just sweep it under the rug and forget it ever happened. Sometimes we do. We shouldn't. But this is going to be a magnificent book because you're going to be able to learn, and your children are going to be able to learn that when we find ourselves in that type of situation, sometimes we got to work through it. Sometimes we have to learn how to adjust and shift our perception. Because when we do that, we may find some silver linings that actually are quite beneficial. And this is as far as I'm going to go because we can dive down that rabbit hole and there is a lot of meat left on that bone. But listen, at the end of the day, Marian is the expert. It's her book. She's written it and she's going to be able to articulate it much better than I ever could. So this is what I want you all to do. Sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready because this is going to be a wonderful education. And this is going to be a book you want to add to your shelf. Marian, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Benji. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Marian, we appreciate you. I really do mean this. I think your book is really going to help shape some people's mentality for the better. Because I brought it up in joking, right? I brought it up in jest. But I can tell you, I have a lot of friends and people that I know where the moment something negative happens or they find themselves in a negative situation, I'm telling you, they don't know how to make that adjustment. They don't know how to try to find that silver lining and shift their perception to pull all of the positive out of what would otherwise be categorized as a negative situation. So this is something I really do mean it when I say it's going to help a lot of children, but it's also going to help a lot of those parents as well that are reading the books to them. So thank you for writing the book. Thank you for being a guest here to discuss it. And Marian, before we go into your book, as is the standard here through People of Distinction, start off by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Well, Benji, I'm the oldest of 4 children in my family.
Mm-hmm.
There were 6 people in my family. I pretty much stayed in the state of Connecticut. I was always an artsy type of kid. So I won all these art awards and that sort of thing. And then I took piano lessons for 10 years. So I was into the arts at a young age.
Yeah.
I didn't really do any writing until I went back to college later in life. So I have one son. I'm married, teach art now for special needs children. And life's pretty good, I think. Yeah.
Love that. Well, Marian, thank you very much for disclosing all of that. And this is not initially where I wanted to go, but I can't see myself going anywhere else now. You mentioned how, listen, you're an artist through and through. You teach art now. You grew up being in the arts. This is something you love to do. But you mentioned when it came to writing, you didn't really embark upon that journey until college. Well, I'm curious about that precipice. Sure. What set you on that journey and began this?
Well, my book began in college as an assignment. And I don't remember what class it was, but the professor wanted us to write a story and include some photos in the story with special effects. And at that time, some interesting things happened. My sister had a dream that me and my husband were living in the dishwasher, and I was tiny, and I asked her, we both had our wedding clothes on, and I asked her for a change of clothes. So that was her dream. This all happened around the same time. And my sister had younger girls, and they were complaining to her about putting dishes in the dishwasher. And for me, who was like the dishwasher in my family, and then when I left home, my sister became the dishwasher, but she had a dishwashing machine. I found it very strange that these young girls had a dishwasher that did most of the work for them, but they really didn't even want to put the dishes in. So that kind of it kind of inspired me with this to write this book. I didn't realize it was going to be a book, but it was when you go to college, you try to accomplish two things at once. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is an easy A, and who knows, maybe I'll write a book about it. My mother had passed away, and she and I had always argued about dishes, and I thought this would be a nice tribute to her. Yeah. So all that tied together to get this book started.
Well, Marian, without further ado, I know we've already started to go into a little bit of it. Alisa in Washerland. Tell us more about the words on those pages.
The synopsis of the book is a young girl who hates to do dishes. She's arguing about doing dishes with her mother. And then and the dishes keep piling up higher and higher. You know, no surprise if you don't want to do dishes. So, you know, she can't see outside the window. The dishes are getting higher every day. She's arguing with her mom. And then she says, you know, dishes, smishes. I wish I never had to do dishes again. And her mother says, be careful what you wish for. And so she has a strange experience. Her body transforms, shrinks. It kind of does this weird thing and shrinks. And she finds herself in the silverware tray. And her mother doesn't know where she went. And Alisa is trying to get her mother's attention to rescue her from the silverware tray, but she can't hear. So she gets angry and puts the dish powder in the machine and starts it up. And Alisa begins to have all these regrets about her life. She never really tried. She didn't really want to do the dishes. She really didn't want to learn how to do swimming. You know, she's half-heartedly doing things. Mm-hmm. And now she has regrets because she wishes she could swim. She's in this dishwasher and the water is rising. So she panics. The water is splashing all over the place. And then all of a sudden she hears a voice, and it is a scrubby worm. And, you know, when she falls in the water, the scrubby worm saves her life. And that happens unexpectedly, too. We find friends in strange places. And this one was like a scrubby worm, which is kind of like an odd creature to find in a dishwasher. So she learns who really does do the work inside the dishwasher.
Marian, thank you very much for all of that. People, I'm telling you, I love this concept. Before I go any further and give a reflection, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's cityofbooks.com. Head on over there today, pick up copies of Alisa and Washerland by Marian Flores, because this is something that I'm already convinced, right? I was convinced prior to even starting this interview. I know you all are. You're all heading on over there as well, because what I love about this is it's a reimagining of an age-old concept, right? As I'm listening to you talk, Marian, the first thing that came to my mind, and listen, there are, I'm sure, a myriad of examples that one can pull from, but it reminded me of The Wizard of Oz. And when I was growing up, I remember The Wizard of Oz was probably my favorite movie as a child. I had the VHS, and I would watch it, and then I would rewind it and watch it again. And it was amazing. I loved that movie. But I remember Dorothy being similar to your character in the sense of, as children and teenagers tend to be, we're a little overdramatic. And at certain moments, we'll take things for granted. And it's only when we lose those things and we find ourselves now lost without them that we grow to appreciate them.
That's a very, very interesting analogy. I hadn't even considered that, but that is so spot on. I love it. Yeah,
and like I said, I mean, I'm sure there are a number of other examples that could be similar, but that's why I'm saying this is a reimagining of an age-old tale and concept. And people, it's all about shifting that perception and that focus. And this is why I'm saying this is a book that can easily be beneficial for adults as well. And a follow-up question that I want to go into, Marian, and I want to hear it from you because I know that this book has been written specifically for children. So I'm the one that's pushing out this thing that it can be for adults as well. But I want to hear it from you when you were creating this book. And now that it's at its completion, two-part question. One, who would you say is your intended reader? And what is the main message that you hope that they'll be able to take from the book upon completing it?
Originally, I was intending on having it as a picture book for children. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make the illustrations as realistic as possible to make the reader go into the dishwasher. But as time goes on and I hear comments, I mean, I know adults enjoy reading the book. And I had a friend who was a grandmother, and her 2-year-old granddaughter enjoyed the book, and she wanted to look inside the dishwasher and see what's going on in there. And then she wanted to look into all the appliances. And she had this cute little dialogue. And then there was another friend whose granddaughter enjoyed the book and wanted to bring it in for show and tell. But every adult that has read my book, whether to children or just to read it, has enjoyed reading the book. So I would say it's probably enjoyable for all ages. Mm-hmm. And, well, no matter how small the chore is, how boring it is, or whether it's a chore or a job, if you persevere through it, you'll find, well, like you said, the silver lining. Yeah. You might learn skills. You might develop new friendships. Who knows the good things that might come of that. Mm-hmm. And lots of times it's something that you can't place a dollar value on. It's something that becomes a part of you that you learn from doing the experience.
I want to dive down the rabbit hole a little bit. Okay. Your book is amazing, and my background is in filmmaking, right? So I live in my imagination, and this is something that the moment we started to do research in preparation for today's interview, man, I was going for it. But I want to ask you, Marian, if you had the opportunity to enter the world of your book, and you can choose any particular page in the book to live in, right? To experience yourself firsthand, which page would you choose to enter and land on, and why?
Oh, well, I like the page where Alisa has shrunk, and she's in the silverware tray,
Mm-hmm.
and she sees her reflection on the pan. And I made her look like the Scream from the artwork,
Yeah,
The Scream
yeah.
by Edward Munch.
Mm-hmm.
She's screaming. I like the illustration and the idea, the tie-in to that piece of artwork. But it's like a realization. She actually saw herself for the size and where she was at. And that's like a it's almost like a climax in the story.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, all of a sudden you realize, oh, here I am. Oh no. But that's how we grow as people, though, too. When we
Absolutely.
finally see just how tall we really are, or how, in this case, how little we really are.
People, I'm telling you, this book is a roller coaster of events. It's something you are going to want to just get lost in. I'm going to say it for you again. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, cityofbooks.com. You have to head on over there and pick up copies of Alisa and Washerland by Marian Flores. This is a book to add to your shelf. This is a book to get lost in with your children. This is a book to get as a gift for someone else to add to theirs. Head on over there today, pick up copies, and see why for yourself. Marian, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
You are so welcome, Benji. I enjoyed our discussion.